Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash, and I'm here with a review of Acceptance on Xbox. Now, this was released on the 11th of August 2023, developed by Rasul Mono, and it was published by Rattalaika Games. And I was lucky enough to present a free copy of this game to do this video review, so big thank you for that. Now, this is a game that won't be for everyone. It's a story-driven psychological thriller about the horrific consequences of a loved one's suicide. So this will have trigger effects to potentially a lot of people. So the story of this game is after the tragedy of your wife's suicide, you play as this office worker, and he's sort of processing these horrific events. That's happened, obviously, the suicide of his wife, and he's sort of going through the sort of 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and it's sort of visualizing them, sort of imagining it, and sort of processing it that way. Now, obviously, this story does deal with like the social issues of suicide, relationships of people who are at risk, people who obviously are closely linked to people who have committed suicide. It's quite deep, it's quite graphic at times as well. While it is a 2D sort of game with sort of simplistic graphics, there is a lot of sort of blood and guts, a lot of dark scenes and stuff like that. While I do like how it sort of represents the grief the character goes through in a unique way, and the way it works through those 5 stages of grief, unfortunately, it didn't really click for me. Now, I'm not one that gets triggered or anything by these sort of things. I just felt the game itself, the gameplay to it, was a little bit bland. So the majority of the game sees you sort of just walking from left to right. There are combat sections where you basically block or attack enemies. There are different enemies, and they're all sort of different projections of the main character. They all have different types of attacks and stuff like that. There's sort of quick time events, boss battles, that sort of stuff. But at its core, it's a very slow, plodding game, and it does drag on a little bit at times. It's not very good with its pacing. Now, one good thing the game's got going for it, like I say, while it is simplistic, when it starts going weird and gory and showing loads of like the darker scenes, it looks really cool. It showcases it well, but the rest of the time it is rather dark and gloomy, and it's just you sort of like plodding through empty corridors waiting for an enemy to strike. Now, one good thing about the game, though, it is a very easy 1000 gamer score. You can get the full 1000G in just over, I'd probably say about half an hour, 40 minutes. You basically just have to complete the first chapter, doing a few things. There are a few missables, but you could just replay the first chapter again just to get that 1000. I just wish that it sped up the gameplay a little bit to make it a little bit less repetitive, because the actual story and the way it progresses is actually really interesting. It's just a shame it's stretched so thin over so many sort of levels of this dull gameplay, which for me was a bit of a drag. Now, the game is priced at $5.99. It's playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S consoles, also available on PC and other platforms. It's optimized for Series X and S with 4K resolution. And like I say, if you're an achievement hunter, I definitely recommend checking this one out. Maybe grab it in a sale though, if not, because you may have to come to it and play it in parts. You may not enjoy the sort of things it's sort of processing on the screen, sort of presenting to you, or you might just feel like it is a bit of a slog and a bit of a drag, unfortunately. But anyway, that's my review of this game. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. Let me know if there's any other games that sort of deal with grief and stuff like that. I'd love to know if there's any others out there that I may have missed, and I'd love to give them a try, maybe review them on the channel as well. But then that, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.